and you have a zero risk that the patients are there, but you don't know about it. You need to, when you see the patient, take a good story. How much of incontinence is it? Do they feel, are they in urgency, or it's just a leakage? Obstetric history, surgery, back problems, and on. We use scores sometimes. I don't think this is important for the individual patients, but if you want to compare your results with somebody else, this is the Cleveland Clinic score or the Wexner score. It's very easy. I don't think it's the best score, but the best thing with the Wexner score is that everyone is using it. So if you want to compare with someone, it's easy to use, and it's very easy to use, and it's easy to compare because everyone is using it. This is a probably better score, which is published some 10 years ago now, but it's not as used as much. And then you take a look on your patient, you look what you can find, look for prolapse. If patient tells me that they have mucus, I put them on a commode. Because you will find prolapse sometimes that patient is not aware of, or perhaps it's a prolapse that only goes down to the anal verge. So mucus is a symptom that I'm very sensitive to, more than fecal incontinence naturally. But if they say I have a lot of mucus, that is, in my hands, a sign of possible prolapse, internal or external. You can look something like this. Fistula can be a little bit of mucus prolapse, rectal prolapse. So then we come down to what can we do for this patient without sending them for surgery immediately? Well, we talked about it. Take a look if the stools are loose, give them fiber. If they're very loose and perhaps they have a cholecystectomy, this is a very effective. Nobody likes to take it because it tastes not very good, but it's a very good agent, castran or cholestyramine, to bind your gall salts. So we have some patients who come, I have this cholecystectomy, and suddenly I couldn't hold my poop. Well, we give them cholestyramine and they will be fine again, probably. They don't need supplements. You can alter the motility. Imodium is our friend. A number of patients who take Imodium and they don't need anything more. The trick with Imodium is not to take too much. They need to start with a very low dose and then they go up slowly because otherwise they get constipated. Some patients take Imodium on demand. They take Imodium if they want to go out to dinner, for instance. They don't want to take it every day. I try to encourage them to take it every day, but some patients refuse. But then they can take it when they leave the house for something important. And then you can do biofeedback. I'll talk very briefly about that. Some patients also can benefit from enemas. Biofeedback has been around many years. We don't really know what we're doing. We know that if we send the patients to biofeedback therapists and then they come back and say they are better. There are randomized studies between different methodologies of biofeedback, and usually they say no difference. It seems like you can do it in different ways, and you care about the patient, it will improve. Somehow they do a better job of keeping track of what they eat and how they train, etc. This is one of the early studies from Chris Norton and Michael Cam, where you can see that there is a fairly good improvement if you have an urge incontinence. Urge incontinence is that you have a forewarning. I have to go to the bathroom and you run. If you have passive incontinence, you don't get the forewarning and you see immediately that the results are worse. So it's much better if they have a forewarning and they can try to hold the stick. And conclusions, how do we do it at our place? Well, the patient comes, we do the careful assessment I talked about. We try very many times at the first visit, we tell the patient to come back many times for follow-up, but we try to tell them about diet, fiber, and Imodium at the first visit. We see the patient after a month or so, and at that time we discuss with them whether we should go by feedback or should we assess further. And that depends on the different patients. If you have a high suspicion that you'll find something useful on your assessment, like the photography or ultrasound, we do that first. Sometimes we send them for biofeedback first, but we do one or the other, and then we follow them up and go from there. Thank you.